Alright, so I got the bushings in these, and I ended up using a vise and some baby powder, some talcum powder there to make it slide a little easier. So I tried a bunch of different things to try to get these in, and what ended up working was a block of wood in the vise on the bushing, that part that's going to be pushed in, and then a 32 millimeter wrench, which is the perfect size to let it pop out the other side. So that's what I used, and I've got them both in. So the bushings are all in the holders. Now I just got to get them back on the sway bar. All right, so that bushing is on there. Once again, put some talcum powder in here. I really don't want to use grease, but don't need to. Put the talcum powder on, and it slid right on. So that's that one on. Let's see if that works for getting these on. All right, so got this on. I ended up having to use some of the grease. The talcum powder just wasn't cutting it. I couldn't get it on, but the grease, it went right on. So didn't use a ton of it, but enough to get it on. And yeah, so that's on. So if you need to know, I marked them when I took them off, but then I cleaned them up. So 73600 and 73500. 500 is the left, 600 is the right, because they are different. They are not the same. They go different ways. So they are different parts. So what I did was I looked up on DC Automotive and looked up the sway bar, and then looked at these parts, and one was 600, one was 500. 500 was left, 600 was right. So, yep. All right. There is the front sway bar. Bushings on. Everything good to go. Everything looks pretty good. I put these bolts in because it was spread pretty far apart. And it was kind of difficult to get the bolts. I had to put a channel locks on it, pinch this, try to get the nut on and everything. So I put these on, tighten these up, hoping that maybe if they sit there for a little bit, it'll close that gap and it won't be as hard to get the nuts and everything on. And I won't have to use a channel lock. So we'll see if that works. I'll let you know. But yeah, so that went pretty well. I did have to use grease on the end ones, but you know, it is what it is. There was no way it was going on any other way. So, all right, we're good to go. So the front stabilizer bar is on. So I did put these brackets here. I did put those on the correct side. Problem is I put it upside down. So I had it flipped around. I realized that when I tried to put it in, and it didn't line up. Luckily, since I greased those, they were easy enough to get off and back on. But if you ever take it off and you forget how it goes, the loop goes down. And everything is torqued down, and that takes care of the front steering and all that. So, awesome. Awesome. All right, so we got this one on and together. So I just wanted to do it the first time to make sure that I was doing it correctly. So I bought a bearing greaser. So I know that it's done right. So I will go ahead and show you how I do that. And then just seating my bearing with seating my seal with my seal driver. And yeah, we'll show getting it on the car then. Okay, so you are going to put your bearings in there. I already cleaned it out with some more brake fluid and blew it out as well. So you put it in there, and you take this part, put it over there. Just push down. See all that bearing grease come up and through. And there you go. Those bearings are packed. And then we'll just set them in there, and we'll we'll spread some grease around the outside and in there as well. But we will we'll get those all taken care of as well. Okay, so now we've got our seal set. Just make sure that it's pretty even. I'll put my seal driver set on, and I will just pound it down with the hammer. And the seal is in. So as you're driving this down, you can tell when it's seated because the hammer kind of starts bouncing off of the top here, and the sound changes as well once it gets completely seated correctly. So that's how you can tell that you're down all the way. Okay, so seated. Next bearing's ready to get filled. So I'll fill that. I'll set it down on my clean towel. I'll get this on. This side will be a little different because I do have the speedometer cable on this side. So I've got to get, I've got the E-clip, and then that goes through this little hole and gets an E-clip to hold it in, and that's how the speedometer works in these earlier cars. And that's the cable that I had to replace. So, yeah, we'll get this in as well. All right. So, first caliper is back on. So, I think that looks pretty good. I mean, obviously, I got to clean up the rotor. Got a little dirty. It was hard getting the brake pads in, I guess, just because they're so full. I mean, they're just brand new. It took a little finagling, but it got in there. And I was worried for a little bit because it was rubbing. But I was thinking once I got my brake pads in, it would be fine. And sure enough, all is good. You don't even hear the bearings. They're so quiet. It's really nice. So we'll work on the other side. All right, caliper number 2 is on. This one, rubbing a little bit. You can hear it. It's not moving as freely, but I think it's the brake pads. I don't think I had the piston retracted as much as I could have. So I think I'm hoping that's what that is. Sounds like it's coming from the brake pads. So hopefully that'll just, wear down a little bit, whatnot. So, front end's almost back together. Still waiting on that brake line for there, that hard brake line to come down from the master cylinder to there. And then I can go ahead and put, well, I guess I could put the flexible line on here on the other side too. So maybe I'll do that, and we'll just tidy up this front, and then we're just about done with the front. And then I got to start working on the emergency brake in the back. So I went to start on my emergency brake, and you got this part, and that slides into that, right? Easy enough. Doesn't fit. This is too thick. So I measured it, and it's about 7.7 millimeters bigger. Too thick. So that doesn't fit in there. Went and double checked my order. And there's the part number. And yeah. It doesn't fit. So this is the second thing from Auto House AZ that I have gotten now. First one was those bushings for the sway bar that were, I don't even know what they were. They were like 16s when they were supposed to be 21 and a halves. And now these, I mean, everything else looks like it's right. You know, it looks like it's the right size for the most part. You know, this looks a little longer too. You know, if that's all lined up and everything, that looks a little bit longer. So I'm going to return these, and I guess I'll try to find ones that are more like this. But I'm going to get them from somewhere else, or I might just try to grind this down, because I bet you if I try to return these to Auto House, I mean, it's been a while since I've ordered them. I don't even know how long ago it was that I ordered them. I knew that I needed them, but it says it fits an 83, and it doesn't. So, I mean, I could grind that down a little bit, but then again, the length kind of worries me. See how much longer that is. So I'll have to think about that. All right, I think I am done for this weekend. Got quite a bit done. Kind of upset about that emergency brake. So I ordered another set. They'll be here sometime this week. Yeah, I can't really do anything. I got the emergency brake and cable coming anyway. And then that other brake line. So it's not like, you know, even if I had it, I still wouldn't be able to do everything I needed to do. So not the worst thing in the world, but just kind of a bummer and upsetting. So, but yeah, pretty busy weekend, and got a lot done, and we're getting close to see if the clutch works and if we can move this baby. Then we'll have to start working on tires.